Hey, what's up? I'm forcing some more videos out this fine Sunday morning. I got my workout in, got a lot of stuff done. I'm tired. I never really sleep that well. I got to work on that. It's probably due to the amount of coffee I drink, which needs to be taken care of. But I wanted to talk about making the decision for yourself and not anyone else, and how alcohol is always going to be a monkey on your back, right? So yeah, a lot of people will try to get sober because they're pressured from a loved one, a family member, a girlfriend, boyfriend, and they tend to do it for them, and it never lasts long term. You have to do it for yourself. That's where, I've talked about this in another video, self-love comes in, gym, better diet, better mental conditioning. You have to love yourself. And you have to want to do it for yourself, and you have to realize that, doing drugs or ingesting alcohol, you're hurting yourself, and you have to look at it as these things are poisons, okay? And once you get there, you'll do it for yourself, and until you truly do it for yourself, it won't last long term, and I really believe that. So yeah. Don't ever do it for somebody else. Do it for yourself. And you can always chain off and do it for others as well, because it's making your family happy, your loved ones happy, all that stuff. But priority is you, right? Like I said, learn self-love and really practice and experience that before, you really take it on and make the decision for yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're probably going to continue to relapse. And it's hard, I still have issues with that to this day. You're always going to, you just get better at it, right? In time. The old saying, alcohol or drugs in general, it's like a monkey on your back. It's always there. It's always going to creep on you. It's like the devil in the darkness, right? Someone said a quote, which I want to make a video on some quotes at some point, but the quote said something like, I'd rather have my lion in a cage than on a leash. That's why I don't moderately drink or try to moderately drink, because a lot of my friends to this day are still like, I just don't get why you can't have a few. They'll never get it because they don't have my brain and in my addiction, in my family tree with alcoholism, my OCD and my addictive personality, which is a whole other video. Like when I do things, like I'm obsessed with them, like guitar, MIDI, piano, gaming, a new game, something new I'm interested in, like collecting. I'm obsessed with these things. That's why I would not make a good hard drug user. I'd be dead, or I'd have nothing, right? And I know that. Just like alcohol, it's 0 to 100. It's either all or nothing with me, and it's very advantageous, but it can be very, very negative if channeled in the wrong way. You have to channel these things in the right ways, right? If you're expelling all your energy into Coke, you're going to have no money. You're going to constantly be high and, dry and down and out. And that's, every Coke addict I've ever met, it doesn't end well for them, unless they have a trust fund or they have mommy and daddy feeding them money, Drugs in general doesn't end well, even alcoholism. But I've always sustained weekend binging, and I was still financially okay and still went to the gym. It's just, it held me back. If you're an everyday drinker, that's a whole other ordeal. Not even going to go off onto that topic. But yeah, it's constantly going to be there. There's still like weekdays when I'm stressed where I think about alcohol. I think about that buzz and that drunkenness and forgetting about everything. And I'll crave it a bit. The more sober time you have, the less power this has, okay? And that's the monkey on your back. It just doesn't have the power it did at like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, 2 months. It gradually gets less and less, and I feel like when I make it to a year and 2 years, I feel like it's going to be like so much less, strong than it is now, and it's already sort of weak. Like I go weekends and it doesn't faze me. I used to literally sit from like after work from like 3 to 4 p.m. all the way to like 7 or 8 on a sober night and just contemplate drinking. And I've talked about this before, and that's that monkey on your back, man. It just hammers your head. And that doesn't happen when you get sober time. It's like, that's like the first few weeks after. And also when you relapse and drink, mentally, you're going to know your sober time's gone, right? So like, say I drank this past Friday, I'd be much more inclined to drink next weekend or the weekend after, because I'd only have a week or two of sobriety time. And that weighs on you. Self-doubt and shame kick in, anxiety kicks in, and you just don't care. Like 7 days sober to me is nothing. You know what I mean? I've had 3 months before. I've had 2 months. I've had 3 weeks. So like when you're in that perpetual cycle of not having that sober time, you're much more inclined to drink again. Trust me. Like if you have a month or two and you drank Friday, I guarantee the odds are you're going to drink again next weekend or the weekend after. It's just the way it is. Mentally, it's just like whatever. You just don't care. Now that I have almost 200 days sober, I'm much more inclined to keep that sober time. And I've never agreed with people when, like, if you have 2 months sober and you drink and people are like, oh, all your sober time's wasted, you're reset, you have to start from day one again. I don't agree with that. I agree you're starting from day one again, but that sober time was still a time where your liver wasn't taking a pounding. You weren't fully induced into like stress, anxiety. You weren't wasting your time. That's still sober time to me. Like if you go a year sober and then you drink, you don't just lose that year of sober time, in my opinion. You do start from day one, I believe that. But that year of sober time was still without alcohol. So I disagree on that topic. Some people are very hardcore with that. I still feel, say you relapse once a year for 5 years and you drink 5 times heavy, you're still better off than drinking every weekend. That's just my viewpoint. I'm sure a lot of people agree with that. But that monkey on your back, it's always going to be there. I'm sure people that have 5 or 10 years still have a stint where they're like, I miss it a bit, and they think about it. But they know where that will lead them and what repercussions that will have. And that's what keeps them from doing it. And just experiencing the positives of being sober, it's so overwhelming to the point where you don't want to give that up and go back to that. Like I don't have to go into a liquor store and buy a bottle or go and buy a 12 pack of 8%ers or buy a case of beer and, go down to the bar and not, spend money and not know what I did that night. It's a lot of weekend time I get to spend doing this and working out and doing things I enjoy instead of laying around. It's great, which I've talked about a lot of this before. And I'm going to make another video, which I'm going to try to make today. It's the pink cloud. It's when you have a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, and you start feeling very good. It's called the pink cloud. You feel very good. You have the mind fog's gone, and people tend to relapse around that point because they feel like, oh, I'm good. I can just drink again. And then it's a perpetual cycle. I've experienced this and I will make a video on it. And I'm sure you guys can relate. You get a clarity and a clear-headedness with this, and it is amazing. It usually occurs after 7 days of sobriety, and then like every month it gets better and better. That's why I'm excited to get to a year, because they say your serotonin and dopamine really readjusts in your brain, and you'll start experiencing the happy chemicals more, because with a lot of drugs and alcohol, it depletes that out of your brain and you're at a deficit. But anyways, that'll be another video I make. But that's really it. It's always going to be there. You just have to learn to navigate it and deal with it. And for me, working out, you have to supplement the time you used to drink with something positive, like making content, working out. On the days I don't feel like working out, I still do it because it makes me feel good. If I miss a normal routine day of working out, I lose my mind and I get depressed. I've only missed 3 days of working out in the past like 3.5, 4 years. And it's because I had influenza A, and one time I was traveling and I didn't have access to a gym. And I've had COVID and worked out near the tail end of it. I still got my workout routine in with COVID. That's crazy. I know. I just recently had a severe upper respiratory infection, did not miss a week. Now, some people, I get you need to rest when you're sick. Some people are against that. I completely understand. I'm just a bit crazy with it. But consistency is key. And my antidepressant is working out and expressing myself now. I'm getting a lot of good feedback from these videos. It's overwhelming, and it's only a few thousand views, and like 10, 20 people that have left comments, and I greatly appreciate it. And I'm going to continue thinking of topics and ways to like have people relate and be organic and authentic. And just making these videos is really helping me with like just grammar and how I speak, because I can be a shy person, and like I like to express myself, and this gives me proper training. And it can be hard to talk in front of a camera by yourself, but I feel like I've already helped one person at least, and I like that, and I want to continue making relatable content. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll keep dropping content when I can. Love y'all.